Hello peeps, welcome to Sundays with Sparky. How's it going? Good to see you. Looking good, looking sharp, looking sexy. Unless you're a guy. Anyway, how have you been? I've been good. It's been a week since we last spoke like this. Actually no, it's been 2 weeks since we last spoke like this, because the other week you were over here and I've moved this around and stuff for the purposes of recording. As you can see, I've moved it back, so yeah. So, what's been going on this week? Well, shall we start with the games this time? Start with the games. Okay, so we had Bioshock, which I think was up on the Monday, which was the last of this current series, I suppose, if you like. Just because there's not been a huge amount of interest in that game, which is understandable because it's a fairly old game. It's a fairly old game. Oh no, that's funny. Forget it. Yeah, so I mean, it was one of those ones where I kind of wanted to play it because it's one of my favourite games, but I realised that it's old. So, you know, I guess it's maybe a thing once I'm a bit more established, it might be something to revisit. But for the time being, that is the end of the Bioshock. On hiatus, indefinite hiatus, I guess, if you like. So we had that. What else did we have? We had, we also had the end of XCOM. I won't be playing any more of that because A, I didn't really enjoy it very much, and B, I'm not very good at it. When I was first told about it, it sounded like it could be quite interesting. But I only ever knew about like the actual mission stuff. I didn't actually know about all the stuff in the background that you have to do with building a facility and researching weapons and all that science and engineering and all that kind of stuff. I just did not find that interesting at all. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give spoilers, all right? In case you do want to see it, but that's the end of XCOM, and we also had the end of Outlast as well. It's just been a week of endings. Just everything's ending. Actually, no, because we did also have Hearthstone. But I'll come to that in a minute. Outlast, as I stated on the video at the time, I've had so many issues with trying to get that game to work and run properly and smoothly without any problems, and it's just been an absolute nightmare. I mean, the very first time I played it, I noticed that it didn't look very good, but I'm putting that down to the actual game itself and not my machine, because my machine can run games that are graphically a lot more intense than Outlast. But there was screen tearing, there was motion blurring when you moved, the texture quality was really poor. Yeah, so it doesn't make for a good recording game anyway, just because it's... And when you got the camera up, everything just goes really grainy. It just doesn't look very nice. But that wasn't... I mean, that kind of annoyed me, but I was willing to give it a shot. And because of the success of the very first video that I did, I wanted to try and keep that going. But I think the second video did like maybe a quarter of the views of the first one. Yeah, so for the one that came out on Friday, I think I put it out. Yeah, Friday. Currently only has 17 views, so but yeah, it took me an hour and a half maybe of trying to get the game to actually record without it crashing, because when I was starting it up I was having problems. It was coming up with errors, and sometimes it would just crash straight away. And I'd get my Audacity running and I'd get the camera going and I'd be like, yes, excellent, this is all recording. and it was just down to the game just either crashing or I'd tab out to set everything recording, and when I tab back in it would just be a black screen and nothing else, so it would then be not responding. It was just an absolute nightmare. And then normally I use DxStory to record because it doesn't usually reduce the frame rate too much on games in general, like R.I.P.D does. Just didn't want to work. I was pressing the key to start recording, nothing happened at all. It was just like you could not record. It just wouldn't allow it. And once you're in the game, I tried recording from the menu, it starts recording, but then as soon as you try to load the game from the menu whilst recording, it crashes the game. So I was like, well, maybe I'll load it first and then start recording. That doesn't work. It's like, what? It works in the menu, but it doesn't work in game. So I was like, right, okay. So I had to scrap that. And then I figured, well, maybe I'll use fraps. I'll try and use fraps and see how that works. And that seemed to work okay until there was something going on the screen, and then all of a sudden my frame rate went down to like 2 frames per second and the game was unplayable. And I've just got to a point where I was playing and recording the game purely for you guys, but it got to a point where it was more hassle than it was worth for me. Because, as I say, I spent a good hour and a half before I even started recording, just trying to get it recording, for me to get a video which is not even 10 minutes long, and it to go wrong. Like literally, I got like about 7.5 minutes of gameplay before it just went wrong again, and then after I stopped recording, it crashed. Just a massive headache. So yeah, so I'm done with that. I cannot be bothered to try and get that to work when it's just been such a pain in my backside. Which is a shame, because it did draw a lot of people to my channel, and I'm thankful for everyone that kind of helped promote that the very first video. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, because you did help me out big time. And as a result, we'll go on to Hearthstone. That has had quite an amazing response. I did do a little bit of, I did put myself out there a bit, and put links on forums and that kind of stuff to try and get people interested in the channel, and that seems to have worked to a degree. I've got a ton of views on the recent Hearthstone videos, which has been fantastic. Unfortunately, I've only gained a couple of subscribers from that as a result. So, swings and roundabouts. You win some, you lose some. It would have been nice to have gained a ton of subscribers as a result, but beggars can't be choosers. And I'm going to try and think of some other cliche sayings to give you. No, I won't. But yes, I did the 1 a day every day this week for Hearthstone, which was good. And as I say, they've had a really good response, so I'm really happy about that. I'm assuming that most people probably watched it on, like on the embedded on the actual forums and stuff, because I didn't get many likes or comments compared to the amount of views that I got. So I'm assuming that because they probably watched it on the embedded video on the forums, they probably didn't decide to then come to the channel and do all that kind of stuff as well. They probably just watched it there and just didn't really, interact with the actual video itself, which is fine. I'll take views. I'm really happy about the amount of views it's got. It's mind-boggling. So yes, so if you did any sharing of any of the Hearthstone stuff, thank you again very much. There is a playlist which should have all the matches in that I've done so far. There will be some more Hearthstone videos coming out next week. I'm not sure what days, but they'll be coming out next week. And I'm also going to get some Dust and maybe some other things as well. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Just on a side note, whilst I have been playing Hearthstone, as you can see, I've been playing it this morning. Just trying, because the wipe's coming soon, which means that everyone in the beta, you get all your progress removed and all your gold is gone, unless it's gold. You get gold back for any money that you spent, either buying decks, either buying packs or you entering the arena. So you get the money back for that, but if you just get it from doing your daily quests and winning matches, that all goes. So as a result, I've just been kind of playing around and toying with different builds and stuff, namely priest, because I was just getting dicked by priests constantly. Just their mind control stuff. You just bring out a big creature and you buff it up and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get ya, and then they go yoink, and you're like, no. It's so annoying when they do that. Or you'll put out a taunt because you think, if I don't put out a taunt, they're going to hit me really hard. So you put out a taunt and then they mind control the taunt and then they hit you really hard as well, and you're like, no. Mind control is a son of a bitch. Priests, man. Got to take them out quick. Got to take them out real quick, because as soon as they get to that 8 mana, as soon as they get up to 8 mana, and if they've got it sitting there, if they've got mind control sitting there, that's it. And they also get a minion that they can play that also does a mind control. Oh, yeah. I haven't got that card though, because I think that's an epic. And we haven't had it in the deck in any packs or anything, so I'm not prepared to spend all my dust on crafting one just yet. Doesn't seem much point. So anyway, so I've been toying with a priest, I've been toying around with the rogue, because I started toying around with the rogue, was it last night or the night before? And I kind of broke my rogue deck that I've been building up over the course of the last 2 weeks or so. Just trying to get it just so. And then I did something, I'm not even sure what it was that I did to it, but I was losing every match I played with it, and I just couldn't understand what was going on. Part of it was card draw, but you can't just blame that all the time. But I've kind of fixed it now, and I've been playing it this morning and owning, which is nice. It's kind of like the Miracle Rogue deck, but there's some other cards I've taken, because I don't have all the cards that's needed for the Miracle Rogue deck. In fact, I might do a video about this. I'll point at you. Rude to point, but I'm going to point anyway. So I haven't got all the cards that go in the Miracle Rogue deck, so I had to put some other ones in instead, and yeah. And sorry if I'm a little sniffly. I'm thinking it's a touch of hay fever or something today. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so that's the game stuff out of the way. Movies. That's it. That's what's next. Movies. This week I went to see R.I.P.D. at the movies, and I went with low expectations. I wasn't expecting it to be very good, particularly. I'd seen the trailers and it looked like it could be quite fun, but I certainly wasn't expecting anything special, particularly. I quite like Ryan Reynolds. I do have a bit of a man crush on Ryan Reynolds. And I thought, well, it could be alright, it could be quite fun, well, let's give it a go, let's give it a shot. And it was quite fun. If you like Men in Black, then you'll probably like it, because it's essentially the same thing. That's the only drawback. It was basically taking Men in Black, taking out the aliens, and replacing them with I forget what they call them now, deados? It's essentially like monster zombie things. The general premise is that this cop dies and he is put into the R.I.P.D, the Rest in Peace department, and it's their job to make sure that anyone that escapes judgment, I don't know, I'm doing a lot of air quotes today, I must apologise, anyone that escapes judgment is captured by the R.I.P.D and sent for judgment, I guess. So yeah, so like Men in Black is capturing aliens and that kind of stuff. This is kind of the same sort of thing. No aliens, just dead zombie type monster people. So yeah, so if you like Men in Black, then you'll probably like it. I liked Men in Black, and I did like this, but it's certainly not going to be one of my movies of the year because it wasn't anything particularly special, but it was quite fun. Okay, I need to start talking a bit quicker because this video seems to have, like, it's going to be going on for quite a while. Movies that I watched last night. I watched Willow for the first time in, I don't know, 20 years or something. When did it come out? 1988. So I would have been 8 years old when this came out. And some of it holds up, some of it doesn't. It's still quite fun, and it's very clearly influenced by Lord of the Rings. Like, very easily influenced. You know, it's basically like Lord of the Rings mixed with a Disney movie. Like the general storyline. Warwick Davis there in the middle with Val Kilmer. And yeah, it's written by George Lucas. So there's it's George Lucas. But it's actually directed by Ron Howard, which I didn't realise, and he did Rush, which I saw recently. I had no idea that Ron Howard had directed it. He's not just done Rush, he's done lots of other things as well, but that was one that I talked about last week. And then inadvertently, I watched 2 movies with John Travolta in without even realising that I'd done it. The first one I watched, it was the beginning of the week, was Savages, which was a fantastic film. And if you haven't seen it, then you should, because it's really good. It's got it's got John Travolta and Salma Hayek, who's a sexy bitch. And it's got Taylor Kitsch and Aaron Johnson. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the guy from Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. In which case, I had no idea it was him until about 3/4 of the way through the movie. Because it doesn't even look like him. But there was, ever so slightly, I was like, is that... That looks like that guy. That looks like that guy. I think it is that guy. And it's got Benicio del Toro in it, who is... He's a badass. He's like, but not a good badass. He's a bad man in this film. He's really nasty, which is awesome. And he has an epic mullet as well, which is always good. And moustache. Mullet and moustache combo. It's not set in the 80s, but his character obviously is. But yes, it's a movie about drugs, marijuana specifically, and the 2 guys having their own kind of plantation type thing in California, and they sort of sell the best because they've engineered it to be the best through science and stuff, because he's got a degree in botany or something. And the Mexican cartel's trying to move in on their business, and yeah, so it's sexy and it's pretty violent, but it's really good, really good. And the other film with John Travolta was Broken Arrow. A little bit different. He's a bit younger in this one. This one came out in '95, whereas this one, Savages, was 2012. So yeah, there's a bit of a difference. It doesn't stand up as well as I thought it was going to. I remember when I first saw it and I was just like, yeah, John Travolta's a badass, yeah. now I watch it, I'm like, he's still a bit of a badass, but it's not. It's a John Woo film, so I thought, you know, it should hold up pretty well. Mission Impossible, the Mission Impossible film that he did was great, and still watch it now, and it's still great. But this one, yeah, the story is a bit lacking, because it's about two US aircraft pilots, and those two, Christian Slater and John Travolta. One of them goes bad, but you never find out why, really. It's never really spoken about. There's no real talk about motive or anything like that. And yeah, at the time when I watched it, I was like, what, 15? Is it 95, did I say? Yeah, 15 or so. And I was just like, yeah, John Travolta's badass. And like, he was smoked his cigarettes really weird, and I thought that was really cool. He's like, he had the cigarette up here and he'd like cover half his face when he was doing it, but I just thought that was really cool because it's John Travolta and I was 15, and you know, and smoking was cool back then because you could smoke pretty much everywhere and it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, don't smoke, kids, right? Okay, just want to get that out there. Smoking may look cool, but it really isn't. But yeah, it didn't really stand up quite as well as I'd hoped, and I mean, it was cheap, so it's no big deal. But yes, if you haven't seen Savages, you really should, because it's a good movie, really good movie. So yeah, this week coming up, we should be, I think I'm going to go and see Prisoners. I was going to go and see Runner, but I think I want to go and see Prisoners more, with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. Because I don't know anything about Prisoners, and all I know about it is that it should be a good film, but I'm not even sure where I've heard that from. So that's usually, if you get that kind of impression, and I like both those actors, so word on the street from my homies is that it's a good movie. Don't ask me which homies. They'd probably not talk to me if I called them homies. Yeah. So I'm going to play some more Hearthstone. If you get any ideas for any games, I know I said that before and then instantly regretted it because people were requesting games that I didn't really like, like XCOM and Outlast. But if there are any games that you'd like to see, I've got a few ideas for stuff, and I've got some stuff already recorded which I'll probably put out. Yeah, we'll just give stuff a try. We'll throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, as they say. That was another cliched saying. I told you I'd get another one in. Ooh. Okay, this has gone on far too long, so I shall bid you farewell. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, wherever the button is. It's probably down here, actually. I'm not sure. Wherever the button is, if I do this, I'll cover all bases. Wherever the button is, click it, subscribe. Maybe click the thumbs up button. In fact, you should go through my entire back catalogue and do that if you haven't. Just kidding. No, but seriously, if you could do that, that'd be great. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.